So now that you've watched the readiness to feed video, you might be wondering, what do I do if my baby doesn't show these signs by 6 months? So we're going to go through each one and what to do here. So if your baby isn't sitting up independently, grasping objects, or bringing objects to their mouth at 6 months, first and foremost, if you're concerned, you definitely should be talking with your pediatrician or pediatric dietitian. It's really important to discuss your baby's milestones with your healthcare providers because they can help connect you to the right resources. And side note, if you don't feel like your pediatrician can connect you to these right resources, the ones that you need, then it might be time for a new pediatrician or pediatric dietitian. So if your baby isn't meeting these milestones, sitting up, grasping objects, bringing objects to their mouth, some families choose to start their babies on purees until they're sitting independently. So if you choose to go this route, following a traditional baby-led weaning style where you're giving them larger pieces of food is not going to be appropriate here, but you can follow a baby-led feeding style with purees, which we'll talk about in the purees video a little bit here. And this will help you transition to finger foods when they're ready. But it's very important that you address this with your healthcare provider to make sure that your baby is ready for this if they haven't met those milestones. The other option is you can wait until baby has started sitting independently. So remember that babies aren't on an exact clock. If we look at the scale of sitting, it's on a bell curve, and some babies develop this skill before 6 months, and some babies develop this skill after 6 months. So this decision is going to be something that you need to make, taking into consideration both your child's readiness to start solids and their increased nutrient needs after 6 months of breast milk and formula feeding. Because remember, at the 6 month mark, we are going to need additional nutrients like iron that breast milk or some formulas don't provide. There's no one right answer here, and that's why it's really important for you to loop your provider in and make a decision together given all the facts and make the decision that is best suited for your unique situation. So what if your baby still has a super strong tongue thrust reflex? So they push all the things in their mouth out of their mouth. So one of the things you can do is provide them with a teether toy that helps increase their oral exploration. So I really like the teether toys like the Flexi, the baby banana toothbrush, and the Zuli bunny teethers. And I'll add a picture, right? Here. I'll add a picture right here of an example of some of my favorite teethers that I like. Other common teethers that are recommended for this are the Komotomo teether or the Nuck brush, which I just haven't personally tried. If your baby is continuing to push all the things out of their mouth, you may consider an evaluation with a speech language pathologist or an evaluation with a lactation consultant to evaluate for a possible tongue tie. Now, both of these things, hopefully your pediatrician can recommend to you as well. And you want to make sure that the person evaluating your baby for a tongue tie, if you do choose to go that route, has been trained in that field of evaluating for tongue ties. So what else can you do? You want to practice these skills. Practice sitting with your baby. Practice providing them toys that they can grasp. Give them those teethers and help them along in their journey of developing these skills. So I also want to encourage you not to rush the process and offer large pieces of food a la baby-led weaning style before they're ready, because trust me, I know feeding your baby is so exciting, but I have worked with lots of mamas and dads who look back and realize that they started their kiddo too early because they weren't developmentally ready, and this can actually cause some frustration and issues down the road. So if your baby is not ready, definitely consider waiting if you I've spoken with your healthcare provider about that, or exploring the puree option. So that's a decision you'll need to make with your healthcare provider. Remember to respond to your baby's cues. This is the best thing that you can do in the situation. Listen to your baby's hunger and fullness cues and listen to the milestones that they've met to see if they're ready. And remember, again, seek help if you feel like they aren't meeting their milestones or if you're concerned, because that's what your healthcare providers are there for. This is not a silly concern. It's not too small of a reason to contact your pediatrician or your pediatric dietitian. You should always feel comfortable going to your provider to discuss these milestones and concerns.